1.
Tonight on CTV, a third bank has been robbed in Fort Collins this past month, and an update on the results of the SCSU election.
Then a rundown of the Doug Max Invitational and how pigeons are being used as a form of communication.
All that and more on CTV starting now.
Good evening, Rams. I'm Ren Wadsworth.
And I'm Robbie Patla.
Our top story tonight, First Bank on College Avenue adds to the list of banks that have experienced attempted robberies in the last month. First Bank was robbed around 3 in the afternoon on the 21st of March, and according to police, a man entered the bank, indicated he had a gun, and demanded cash from the tellers. The man then fled the location with an undisclosed amount of money. Police say the suspect is around 5'2" with tattoos on his wrists and hands, and no employees or customers were injured during the incident. This is the third bank robbery reported in Fort Collins in a month, and CTV will continue to update you on this issue as the investigation progresses.
A former Colorado youth basketball coach has been charged with sexual assault of a minor. Terrell Hughes, former coach at Integrity Sports Arena in Windsor, was charged with sexual assault on a child in possession of a sexually exploitative material of a child, and sexual contact without consent. Following these allegations, which began in January, Hughes was arrested and fired from his position on March 13th. Hughes was released from Larimer County Jail on a $50,000 bond on April 1st and is scheduled to appear in court today on April 6th.
3 employees at 2 long-term elderly care facilities in Fort Collins have tested positive for coronavirus. This comes weeks after the workers had been fully vaccinated against the virus. 2 others of their co-workers tested positive in between their first and second doses and were all asymptomatic and identified through weekly testing. However, Larimer County health officials say that the newly identified cases should be considered breakout cases and are not a cause for concern about the efficiency of the vaccine. In total, 2 employees from Brookdale Fort Collins Memory Care and 4 at LeMay Avenue Health and Rehabilitation have tested positive this week. Additionally, 12 other outbreaks have occurred within the week. Samples from 5 of the cases have been sent to the state for further testing in the hopes to identify if their workers were infected with a variant of coronavirus. You know, I actually haven't gotten a chance to get the new virus, even though it is available to the public now. How about you, Robbie?
Yeah, I haven't gotten the vaccine myself. However, it is on my agenda. And speaking of this, we will now head over to Sarah Fowler live in the studio, who will give us a rundown on the new phase of coronavirus vaccinations. Sarah?
Thanks, Robbie. On April 2nd, COVID-19 vaccines entered into a new phase. It allows everyone in the general public to get their COVID-19 vaccine through appointment only. Many COVID-19 vaccine locations are allowing people who volunteer for 2 shifts to get their vaccine right away, including the ranch located in Loveland. Larimer County has many vaccine sites available, including King Soopers and Walmarts in the area. Moby Arena, located on Colorado State's campus, also began giving out vaccines through appointments on April 5th. All 3 vaccines, Pfizer, Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson, are available at most vaccine sites. Hopefully, with this phase being put into place, Colorado will soon find a new normal again. Back on CSU's campus, 2 organizations are partnering up to help students save money. Rams Against Hunger is a Colorado State University organized group that helps with students, faculty, and staff around campus that are dealing with food insecurity. They have different programs for everyone, including a food pantry, a meal swipe program, pocket pantry, and an in-person assistance with federal aid eligibility. This year's Rams Against Hunger and CSU's Parking Transportation Services have partnered together and are offering to lower parking citations by $20 if you contribute just $10 to Rams Against Hunger. This will last until May 14th and can only be done once per citation ticket. The 2 organizations have partnered up in the years past and will continue to support each other's causes. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Sarah. Don't go anywhere, Rams, because Isaiah Hiley is up after the break to give you a weekly weather report. Stay tuned.
Did I say vaccine?
You said virus.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
Welcome back from the break, Rams. I'm Zaya Hiley, and let's get right into our weather forecast for tonight. So you can see our current conditions in Fort Collins are at 36 degrees, and it's a very cloudy night. And we actually can expect a few flurries or snow showers to be possible throughout the night, but it should just be a little sprinkling of snow. And the sunset is at 7:30, so perfect timing right after the show. You could go check it out if you want to. And now we can check out what our conditions look like on campus today. You can see this was before the rain hit, of course, but it was a beautiful day. The grass is starting to get greener, and we also had the flowers starting to bloom on the plaza. Spring seems to have sprung. It was very nice outside. We've got lots of students outside enjoying the weather as well. This guy's playing guitar. We had the commencement going on in the Oval too, so there was lots of students walking around with their grad caps. It was a beautiful day to walk the Oval and for them to graduate, so that's pretty awesome. And now we have tonight's lows. You can see I've highlighted some of these areas in red because we do have a red flag warning issued by the National Weather Service because there is a chance of fire spread in these areas. This is caused by low relative humidity combined with very high temperatures and high wind gusts. So all of these areas highlighted in red do have a chance of very quick fire spread. But we're going to have the hottest temperatures down here tonight as well. We've got Lamar at 38, Pueblo at 36, Colorado Springs at 34. And then as we go over into the eastern side, we stay in the 30s as well. Moving into the mountains, it's a little bit colder. We've got Gunnison and Alamosa at 21, Telluride at 22, Grand Junction a little warmer at 34. And now we can look at tomorrow's highs. So tomorrow's looking warmer than it was today. We don't have any rain to worry about, but we stay with a little bit of variation across the state. We've got really warm temperature down here at Pueblo at 71, but we also have some colder temperatures up in the higher elevation areas. We've got Vail at 48, Telluride at 45, and then throughout the rest of the state, we stay in the 50s and 60s. So we've got Grand Junction at 68, Craig in the 50s as well, along with Lyman and Burlington in the 50s, and then Sterling and Lamar in the 60s. But of course, I know you're wondering about Fort Collins, so let's get into tomorrow's forecast. You can see we've got a high of 64 and a low of 37, and it's going to be a partly cloudy day tomorrow. But you can see here we've got wind gusts up to 40 miles per hour. It's going to be windy tomorrow. Hold on to your papers. And we do have good air quality, though, so at least when the wind is hitting you in the face, at least it's good air quality. And lastly, we can look at our 5-day forecast. So you can see on Thursday we warm up a little bit with a high of 70. Friday it cools down a little bit with a high of 61. And then we get a beautiful, nice day on Saturday. High of 72, low of 38, cools down a little bit on Sunday as we dip into the 50s. And that's all I have for you for the weather. And this is actually the last time that you'll be seeing me on weather for the semester. But it's been a pleasure telling you about it. We've got Robbie and Ren with more news after the break, but I kind of want to do like a mic drop. I don't have a mic though, but you know what I'm going to do with this. Peace out, Rams.
Queen is just my everything.
His smile did it. His smile, his eyes, his knowledge. My landlord, he decided that he wanted me to move based on the fact that I was transgender. Let's just respect people in everyday life for just being human.
Welcome back from the break, Rams.
The Fort Collins municipal election takes place today. One of the issues on the ballot is a zoning project to potentially turn the old land Hughes Stadium stood on into a housing project. The expected size of the zone would permit 550 new houses, but some residents in Fort Collins oppose the construction and believe the area should be preserved as an open space instead. In a previous city council vote to rezone the land for development, the project failed last June in a tie. This prompted the Colorado State University system to invoke a clause that would allow Leonard to build without needing permission from local offices. In response, those who opposed the development had placed an initiation on the ballot requiring Fort Collins to make an effort to purchase the property from CSU Systems and attempt to rezone the area fully as an open space. Now, there's no word whether Colorado State University would accept any offer made from the city or not.
Speaking of elections, April 1st marked the end of the ASCSU Senate and presidential campaigns, and next year's executive team has been announced. The 4-week-long 2021 ASCSU election cycle has come to an end. Almost 14% of the student body, which tallies up to a little over 4,000 students, voted in the election. Once voting concluded, the results came shortly after. Kyle Hill was voted the 51st Speaker of the Senate for ASCSU.
It is an honor to serve as your next Speaker of the Senate, and I want to make sure that every student has an equal voice on this campus. We are going to make ASCSU more accessible. We are going to make it more inclusive, and we are going to treat everyone with diverse and dignity.
After a competitive and engaging presidential race, Christian Dixon and Mary Gabristatic were voted the next president and vice president of ASCSU.
This victory is not just for Mary and I, it is for everyone who believed in this vision, right? Who believed in this vision of love and respect and dignity for our campus, where every person and every story can be known. And I want you to know that you're a part of that vision. After the storm of this pandemic has passed, there's going to be some damage. Right? There's going to be an opportunity for us to rebuild what we know as the community of CSU, and our invitation is that you would join us.
Dixon and Gabristatic promised to open the gates of student government and allow all students' voices to be heard through their values of radical inclusion, transparency, and stewardship.
We're just so grateful. We're so thankful for everything. We're ready to start the work, and we can't wait to have you in it.
Every candidate put hard work and dedication into shaping what the CSU community is. Congratulations once again to all the winners of the 2021 ASCSU election cycle.
COVID-19, the pandemic, and the quarantine have impacted everyone. But as it seems to wind down, we take a look at one group at Colorado State University who was present throughout the coronavirus. One group at Colorado State University has been working around the clock during a global pandemic in an effort to keep students motivated to practice healthy behaviors.
The social learning campaign is really about correcting misperceptions about attitudes and values and behaviors around a particular issue.
The Social Norming Task Force at CSU is taking a unique approach in their marketing in the hopes to correct the misperceptions students may have about COVID-19.
One thing the task force was responsible for is putting signs just like this one all across Colorado State University's campus.
But as the semester draws to a close, how will the task force continue its work, or will it evolve into something entirely new?
So we are now currently in conversations about what does it look like for us this upcoming summer, knowing that public health guidance may change, and what does it look like for us in the fall.
All students at CSU need to do to see the work of the Social Norming Task Force's look, and all around is evidence of the hard work students and staff here at CSU did to keep Rams healthy and safe. Both Giles and Donovan are unsure of what the Social Norming Task Force will transform into once the fall semester rolls around, but they are both sure they still want to make an impact here at CSU.
Spring break is only a couple days away, Rams. Sadly, students won't be returning to campus following the break, so it's time to move out of residence halls. CSU Housing has outlined some important procedure steps to be mindful of when moving out. Make sure to remove all non-university property from the room, return university property to its appropriate location, clean the room including all possible markings on the wall, report any damages found in the room to HDS facilities, and be sure to change mailing address once the move-out process is complete. The bookstore is also allowing students to sell back their books. If students wish to do this, they can do so from till April 9th and again between May 10th throughout the 14th.
Students at Colorado State University are banding together to build something bigger, or maybe smaller than them. Spring 2020 looked different this year than usual, and 24 students from 8 different majors teamed up to design and construct a tiny house. The building of the house took place outside the Nancy Richardson Design Center. The project and those involved hope to raise awareness around alternative, affordable, and sustainable housing to help those experiencing housing insecurity and homelessness. You know, I would really like to believe that I could live in a tiny house, but I really just don't think that the minimalistic style is for me. But I don't know about you, Robbie.
I personally would agree. I would love to live in a tiny house secluded in the middle of the woods. However, I do not think I'd be able to last very long.
Yeah, no, I'm a little too dependent on technology, honestly.
Tell me about it. Speaking of technology, you all know that app TikTok? Well, Sophia Ridley is with us live in the studio to talk about how a TikTok influencer is using the platform for good.
Social media app TikTok has exploded over the last couple of years. As it's grown, people have used their platforms for many different things. One creator, Aaron Murphy, has used his platform to raise money and start a nonprofit that helps provide food, shelter, and work to people from all over South America.
Building a following on social media is extremely difficult, and it takes time to create a solid platform. Murphy explains how he started out on YouTube, but quickly learned that TikTok has a vast reach.
One thing I was doing was going through the throches, like the trails that'll sneak you into another country. And I just kind of like documented it. And then the next day that one had 400,000 views. And so I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to kind of focus on this. And then the video after that was, I woke up the next day and it had 1 million views. So it was pretty quick.
Murphy has over 1.2 million followers and regularly posts how their donations have changed people's lives. His most recent video shows how his followers provided supplies and other necessities to an indigenous tribe in Venezuela.
Village.
Although Murphy has already changed thousands of people's lives, he isn't finished.
Like, this is my main passion. I love doing it, you know. My goal is to do videos in every single Latin country and then expand from there. So I have a couple years to go.
He said, quote, "My hope is that the people who've watched these videos would remember to feel gratitude for all that they have and learn how they can help literally change the lives of less fortunate human beings." End quote.
If you are interested in donating or even checking out some of his stories, visit MurphsLifeFoundation.com.
Well, Rams, that is all the news we have for you tonight.
It has been a pleasure sharing the news with you this semester, but don't go anywhere because Ellison Hubbard is up next with his final show here at CTV.
Dad?
Just 1 minute, okay?
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Can birds draw pictures?
I don't have an answer for that.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
How's it going, Ram fans? Welcome back from the break into what is the final regularly scheduled night of Hubbard's Huddle this semester. I'm your host, as always, Ellison Hubbard, here to get you caught up on everything going on in the world of athletics. Tonight, we'll jump into what seems like a weekly occurrence for Tuesday nights. Some more CSU track and field action before getting caught up on the finale of the March Madness tournament. And of course, how could I forget about my top highlight play of the week to close out what very well might be the final Hubbard's Huddle. So let's break the huddle and get into some more shattered records on the track. Last Saturday, the Rams had their first home meet of their outdoor slate on nearby Jack Christensen track. And like CSU faithful have grown accustomed to as of late, 2 more school records were put into the record books throughout what was a dominant team effort from these Colorado State athletes all around. And man, with the effort these Rams put out, it was a long afternoon for the meets visiting schools, with teams like CU, UNC, Colorado School of Mines, and Wyoming at a complete loss when going against the home squad. Collecting 13 first-place finishes in 13 different events, not to mention most of these first-place finishes made history, catapulting these Rams winners all the way into the program's top 20 for the respective events. As we look at the records broken, Lauren Gale competed in the 400-meter race, finishing in first, shattering her own personal record, and more importantly, the CSU's all-time mark by 0.52 seconds, with a drop from 52.76 seconds to 52.24 seconds. And as we jump into triple jump, sophomore alum Bouchara, who has been the talk of Hubbard's Huddle for weeks, has now broken 2 records. That's right, 2 all-time marks, all as only the second-year student athlete. Bouchard previously made history earlier in the semester with the indoor record for triple jump at Colorado State. And he can now say he surpassed the marks indoors and outdoors, finishing with a historic leap of 51 feet and 1.5 inches. And to end things off, let's take a look at one more outdoor CSU record breaker. This time, it's senior grad student Eric Hammer, who competed last Friday at the Sound Running College Invite down in Cali. The longtime Fort Collins vet competed in the 10K meter race and finished first with a time of 28 minutes and 8 seconds, dethroning the previous champion in the event and former teammate Jarrell Mock by 2.85 seconds. Wow, what a successful weekend for the Rams. And as the weeks go on, the pressure will continue to rise, with Coach Bedard continuing to push his squad towards even more all-time performances. And now, slamming our way into the finale of the March Madness, last Tuesday I predicted that Michigan would win it all. Man, was I wrong. But hey, the sadness I felt was short-lived as the 2021 Men's Hoops National Championship finally arrived, putting the undefeated Gonzaga Bulldogs against the Baylor Bears. And like the whole tournament, things don't go according to plan. And what essentially was a blowout, the Baylor Bears surely earned their spot in history, winning 86-70, erasing Gonzaga's chance at a perfect season and dropping them to 31-1. With the dub, Baylor and head coach Scott Drew brought home the program's first national title in school history. So how did the Bears beat the Zags? Well, let's take a look at the stats. The Bulldogs went 25 for 49 from field goal range, finishing with a better field goal percentage of 51%. But that didn't tell the entire story. Gonzaga just couldn't get it going from beyond the arc when they needed it most, finishing a lowly 5 of 17. And as the three-point nightmare showed, the team from Waco, Texas dominated the night, never trailing in what was a dominant victory. In the end, Coach Drew's squad had the passion and the heart to win, and that took place in both their defense and their offense. And ESPN's Stephen A. Smith agrees, saying, quote, Baylor is dominating both ends around the basket, and their guards are destroying Gonzaga, end quote. Now that Baylor basks in the glory of what is their first ever title, the 2020 to 2021 college basketball season has finally reached its conclusion. This was definitely one wild tournament bracket and a super memorable March Madness. And now, Rams, it's finally time for my final top highlight play of the semester. The big dance is said and done, and to make the ending even more special, I have this insane buzzer beater three by Gonzaga's Jalen Suggs to close things out. Take a look. Jalen Suggs gets the inbound. He's running, time running down, throws up a three, banks it in, and he wins the Final Four matchup against UCLA. Look at this bank. Did he call bank? I think he called bank. He hits it in, and he runs to the table like D. Wade and Kobe did. That was his dream. He fulfilled his dream. Instant classic. What a history moment right there as number one Gonzaga beat UCLA. And like the news I just gave to you not too long ago, they did not win in the championship against the Bears in a very sad loss. But that's all I have for you tonight, Ram fans. Thank you so much for hanging out with me throughout my time here at CTV, and I can't wait to see what the future holds. But don't go away just yet. Tygo Branson is up next for his final entertainment special of the spring. This is Ellison Hubbard, signing off.
It takes less than 1 minute to find out if you may have prediabetes. You can do it here. But you probably won't. You're busy. Kids, work, show coming back in 48 seconds. So let's do this now. Hold up one finger if you're a man, women, 0. 3 more fingers if you're over 60, 2 over 50, 1 over 40. If you're not sure, keep in mind you're sitting on a couch right now, so 1 more finger if you're not very active. 1 finger if yes, 0 if no. 1 yes, 0 no. Next, find the body type that looks most like you and hold up that many fingers while I look around awkwardly. And that's it. If you're holding up 5 fingers or more, you probably have prediabetes. Sorry to be so blunt, but hey, you're busy. Just go to the site.
Good evening, Fort Collins. I hope you're having a killer week and welcome to entertainment. I'm Tygo Branson. Fort Collins is home to Extra Arts and Drafts. This neat little tavern lets people get creative with arts and crafts while also serving a variety of beverages. From jewelry making to wood burning, this place has it all for every skill level as well. While you're welcome to walk in, it is recommended that you make a reservation. Sounds like a good time. And for the time you don't want to spend indoors, paddle boarding and boating season are here, and with that comes some dangers. One of the biggest problems is that Setanka Bay is that the paddle boarders and boaters enter around the same spot. The Larimer County Natural Resources has a plan. They stated that, quote, the LCDNR is designating Setanka Bay, the northern cove at Horsetooth Reservoir, as a wakeless paddlecraft only zone, end quote. It will be split into the west and east side. The west side is closed to motor vehicles, but the east side will be open for boat docking. Speaking of water sports, the Rocky Mountain Adventures used to have quite the little helper.
When you think of retail shop or rafting, you don't quite think pigeons. Well, Rocky Mountain Adventures has been changing that for over 2 decades with their Pigeon Express.
1995 was kind of the first flight. They're really looking for a way to get film down so they could process it and actually have pictures available for customers when they got off the river. And it was just a timing thing that was really challenging. So they came up with the idea to utilize, homing pigeons.
As time moves forward and so does technology, these little friends find a new purpose.
Over the years, it's kind of changed how they incorporate into Rocky Mountain Adventures. We're the third owner of Rocky Mountain Adventures. We're really excited to keep them a part of the company. They're not going to be carrying, now we're digital, not going to be carrying pictures back or film back anymore, but we are using them as kind of an educational piece and a nod to the historical portion of our business.
Though it may not be their original purpose, they still get to interact with the guests.
On a daily basis, we do bring them out and engage our guests just with folks that are here at the shop. That's kind of how they're used right now.
Rocky Mountain Adventures has some interesting plans for the pigeons' futures.
Eventually down the road, we would like to incorporate them to where the groups could write a little note, and then it would be kind of a pigeon delivered message back, and it'd be kind of a fun thing for some of the younger groups.
Here they have pigeons coming back, and I can barely get my dog to sit. Pigeons are not the only thing Fort Collins has going for it either. Fort Collins has received the Clean Air Champion Award for the winter of 2020. The award comes from the Regional Air Quality Council. The award is $500 donated to the nonprofit of the winner's choice, which was Meals on Wheels for Fort Collins, and the award is only given out twice a year. Congrats, Fort Collins, and thanks for the clean air. It is no wonder Fort Collins has such clean air, as it ranks in the top 10 cities for e-bike usage. Fort Collins trailed behind Boulder in the ranking. It was based on a 5-point scale based on ridership, safety, network, reach, and acceleration, and Boulder led with a 3.4 while Fort Collins followed with a 3.2. And just like that, we went from number 1 to number 2. Yeah, I still love you, Fort Collins. That's all I have for tonight. Thanks for tuning in for my last show, and have a good night. We'll meet again, don't know where, don't know when, but I know we'll meet again some sunny day.